Okay, I'm live. 0 people watching. It's all to the good. Impromptu. I'm in transit, but I decided to drop this because I feel like it needs to be dropped. I'm outside on my cell phone, so it is what it is. But I've been thinking about this. I've been reflecting on it. And the idea is, what is the gynocracy really? Well, in my viewpoint, the gynocracy is basically balkanization. Now, if you think about balkanization, it typically refers to the division of a larger group into smaller antagonistic factions. Now, in the context of race and gender, within African American communities or the community, this could basically entail tactics or phenomena that create a division between black men and black women, often undermining the social status of black men in a variety of different ways. Now, one could argue that this divide could be a byproduct or an intentional outcome of broader systemic issues. But if you look at the gynocracy, it's not really that women have power, it's just basically that they're utilizing white power, either intentionally or as a byproduct of structural or systemic issues, okay? Like colonialism, slavery, imperialism, what have you. Which of course have historically sought to fragment marginalized communities, man. So it's crucial to understand that these observations, they're not meant to really actually attack all black women, but it's to just point out some shit that they're responsible or culpable for. Okay? It is what it is. It's to also understand the structural dynamics and to tell it like it is from a black male's perspective. And the very idea that black men should remain silent in the face of adversity or injustice is stupid. It's inane. Okay? So for many, it's unimportant for us to talk about mass incarceration. And the American prison system basically disproportionately targets black men, removing them from the community and actually subsequently limiting their opportunities for education and employment. Now, this incarceration cycle not only damages individual men's lives, but it also damages their families' lives. It disrupts familial structures and it contributes to community incohesion, okay? Not only that, we can't talk about the way we get stereotyped and represented in the media. You got stereotypes like the thug, the pookie, the ray ray, the threatening black male, and it contributes to negative perceptions. And these images also limit employment opportunities and social integration. And they also contribute to harmful intra-community dynamics, these attitudes and these ideas that there's some problematic attitude that we have, or some sort of lack of cultural sophistication. We have educational disparities that nobody wants to talk about. Statistically, it's already known black women are more likely to graduate from high school and pursue higher education. It is what it is compared to black men. But this gap can contribute to the difference in social status, which no one wants to talk about, and employment opportunities, which no one wants to talk about. We can't say anything about labor market discrimination. We face discrimination in the job market. We get pushed into low-paying jobs or service sector jobs or even unemployment. And this also affects familial roles and contributes to the social perception that black men are not productive. We're less productive members of society. Not only that, take child support in the family court system, right? This system is unfavorable towards black men. We already know it, particularly when it comes to child custody and the child support. And this system does, it further marginalizes black men by making it challenging to maintain family ties. They come in and they, like paternalistic overseers, dictate what the fuck is supposed to be going on in our family lives. We got healthcare inequality. We face disparities in healthcare. We have lower life expectancies and higher rates of diseases and hypertension than many other demographics in this country. But we ain't supposed to talk about that. We have unaddressed mental health issues and a variety of other factors that contribute to our lack of well-being, but we can't talk about it. We get marginalized politically. Now, I'm not gonna say that black women don't face political issues. They do. They have systemic obstacles just like black men. But they, in recent years, have been more successful in jockeying for what is in their best interest rather than ourselves. They have organizations that support black female candidates. How many organizations actually are out there that support us and our issues and our political machinations? Fucking hardly any. Hardly any. Social programs. Where are the social programs to help us? I can't see y'all out there right now. I see it's 53 people watching. I'm just in transit. I'm in the city of St. Louis. And I had to drop this, though, because it's been on my mind for a while. So shout out to all y'all out there, man. I see you. I can see you now, man. Old Goons Machete, Jay Cleveland Green, Prince Zachariah, Adric Kapoy. What's up, dog? Rue, I see you out there, Art Nuster. Passport OG, Dolomite. It's a whole Be About Peace and Pleasure. It's a lot of y'all out there. But anyway, social programs. One thing that comes to mind to me is the Brothers Keeper. My Brother's Keepers program that was proposed. And initially, it was thought to be a good thing, but as soon as the intersectionalists came around, they started to knock it and argued it would, it was basically discriminatory towards black women. So they can have social programs, but can we have any? Can we have any? So most of the accessible programs are designed for women and children, which leave men in the periphery. Now, whether it's intentional or structural, that's a matter of debate. But let's just face it, we don't have social programs which really deal with our issues. Okay? Narrative control, man. The mainstream discourse basically highlights the challenges that are faced by black women in terms of both race and gender, but they neglect issues that affect black men, which results in a form of erasure. The same kind of erasure that they say they face is the same kind of erasure that we face. Now, the question is, you want to talk about the gynocracy and what it is. I'm saying it's primarily structural and institutional. But then the question becomes, what do you think about oppressed groups who have people or individuals from oppressed groups who benefit from balkanization or division within their communities? What do you call that? You can call it tokenism, which describes individuals from marginalized groups who are elevated to positions of visibility, but they're given limited power. They're only symbolic representations of progress or diversity. It's really actually only used as a smoke and a dog and pony show, a smoke and mirror. Prima facie, look how diverse we are. Are you really diverse? Really? So you got a lot of tokens out here. You got people who have been co-opted. When people from oppressed groups are integrated into existing power structures in a way that only serves to legitimize or to sustain the current status quo or the structures that already exist. And they don't want to change the system. They're given some little pig feet, some hog maws, some chitlins. Why would they change the system? They get a Cadillac, they get some weave or whatever the fuck. Why would they want to change the system? You got gatekeepers. That's another name for it. Individuals within marginalized communities who control access to resources, information, and opportunities. And they may have an agenda that aligns with that of the dominant group, either intentionally or unintentionally. Then you got the concept of model minorities. Now, when you think about black folks, the black community, who's perceived as the model minority? It definitely ain't you. It's weaponized, this concept of model minorities, to perpetuate divisions among oppressed groups by suggesting that some are more worthy of interpolation or more deserving and capable than others. You got the concept of Uncle Tom's or Uncle Thomasinus, but typically you don't really hear anything about Uncle Thomasinus. You primarily hear about Uncle Tom's. This concept, Uncle Tom, though, it came from Harriet Beecher Stowe's anti-slavery novel, and it's been used to describe black individuals who are seen as subservient to white people, and they uphold white supremacy. It's a lot of Uncle Toms and Thomasinus out here. I don't know why it's possible for people to have the ability to imagine only the ways in which black men have been impacted and affected subversively by white supremacy, but you can't do the same for women. It's ridiculous. Then you got collaborators. You can call them Quizlings. It happened in Nazi Germany. We had a group of Jews who was, hey, go ahead and gas them. Go ahead and gas them. To argue that something cannot, logically improbable or impossible within the context of the black community is pure fucking ridiculousness. This has been one of the most, I would argue, what has happened to black folks in the United States has been more severe and has been more protracted in terms of length of time than whatever happened in Nazi Germany. I'm reminded of Chuck D and what he said about the hardcore cost of the Holocaust, and I'm talking about the one still going on. The shit that's still happening to us. You got assimilationists. People, I want to assimilate. I want to be part of the dominant culture at all costs. And you want to escape by means of assimilation, discrimination. But it don't work like that, bro. You'll try to put your own community at the expense of people that look like you. You know, you'll try to throw them under the bus in order to try to elevate yourself. The shit don't work. Then you got what I would consider to be neoliberal multiculturalists. These people embrace multiculturalism, but the kind of multiculturalism that they embrace or diversity they embrace, it doesn't challenge the system. It's a market-friendly kind of embracing of multiculturalism. And that's what I consider the intersectionalists to be. Neoliberal multiculturalists. market-friendly multiculturalists. Tell me how that's fucking working. How that's supposed to work. Then you got elites, or buffer classes, as I guess Dr. T.S.R. Johnson would refer to it. Okay? Now, I mean, there's always been, when you got a colonial situation, there's always been a group of people who have some level of power or social mobility, but they don't use that power to challenge the broader structures of oppression that's directed towards their demographic. So you got these elites. Now, one could argue at one point in time in the Black community, the whole concept was uplift. We uplift as we climb. Am I my brother's keeper? Am I a bridge builder? One has to ask the question, is anybody thoughtful of building bridges anymore, or uplifting as they climb anymore? I don't think so. Now, if the talented 10th is not doing its due diligence to try to uplift the entire community, one could argue, or the entire demographic, then one could argue, like, what use do they have? Now, having said all that, man, the question then becomes, what kind of culpability do people have for being accomplices, elites, neoliberal multiculturalists, assimilationists, quislings or collaborators, Uncle Toms, gatekeepers, tokens? What culpability do they have? And that's the question that nobody wants to actually answer. Everybody wants to keep quiet on it. I don't want to say anything about this. I can't talk about this. I can't say anything about this. Why not? Now, some people say, well, it's systemic forces that control the phenomena. You really can't expect any more. Can you not? Like, the systemic forces just supersede the individual choices. Like, the systems of oppression are so pervasive that the people who engage in subversive or culpable behavior, they can't really actually be held culpable because the system overpowers their choices. I don't believe that that's the case, man. I just don't. That their individual agency is diminished and they can't really actually make choices. You can make choices, man. You can be on the right side of justice. You have the capacity and the agency to do that. Now, one could argue, I mean, that I will get into it. And I'll get into it now, I guess. Some people say, well, you know, when you have situations of colonialism, slavery, or imperialism, some people can internalize their own oppression. So they may have internalized the same prejudices that the dominant group has against their own group, and the stereotypes about their own group, which leads them to engage in behavior that contributes to even more balkanization. The question is, I mean, and it's been scholars, man, who've been trying to discuss the various ways in which internalized oppression occurs in the Black community for fucking decades. But to even visit it is some fucking pro-Black shit, and you niggas don't like it. Tell me what's there not to like about trying to understand the various ways in which somebody's trying to fuck your mind over, nigga. I want you to tell me that shit. Oh, I don't like you pro-Black niggas. Fuck it all, the community. Explain that shit. If somebody's trying to play a Jedi mind trick on you, you ain't gonna try to understand how the Jedi mind trick is being played, my nigga. Some people say it's, well, you know, in terms of culpability, well, it's a survival mechanism. So if you align with the oppressive system or contribute to even more balkanization, it's just only a survival strategy in a world that really doesn't give you anything. It provides you with limited opportunities, so you got to make a way when you can. That's some crab in the bucket shit, if you ask me. That's just my opinion. But the greatest thing is the access to information, one could argue. Okay, well, people have limited access to information. They can't understand what's actually going on. And the more I see people in my day-to-day life, the more I understand they have no fucking clue of what actually is going on out here. So if they don't know, maybe they aren't as culpable as we say that they should be. But God damn it, when I tell you, when I give you the information, when I present the information and you deny it, you run away from it, you try to twist the information, you try to say that the information is useless, the information really is not actually going to do anything to lead to progress. Well, how the fuck we ever going to get to progress then? If the first thing we don't want is access to the information. Now, it's true, not everyone in an oppressed group, especially black men, half of us can't fucking read. Everybody doesn't have access to education. That's why I make it a point to get on this format and to try to educate as much as I possibly can. Although there are a lot of naysayers and haters out here, I'm still gonna do this work because I think that the work needs to be done. But don't say you ain't got access to the information when the information is being disseminated to you over social media or other formats. Now, who's the leaders, man? In terms of culpability, leaders. What kind of leaders do we have today? We used to have great leaders in our community. Who the fuck are our leaders today, man? Who's looking out for the common man? All I hear is people disparaging the common black person or the black person who exists in a situation of tragedy. All you have is stereotyping and caricaturization for them type of people. Fuck them niggas. That's how you feel? Well, then go ahead about your business then. What the fuck are you here for? What you want to even talk about any of these issues for? If you're busy out here doing what's best for you, go on, do you then. Do you. Go on, be that token that you like, that assimilationist that you love. Go on, be that Quisling that you, or that Uncle Tom that you rejoice in. Do you? You got some people who are complicit with the system. That's all I'm trying to articulate, man. Yeah, it's fucked up. We know that the situation we've been in is fucked up. The question is, what the hell are we gonna try to do about it? Now, this is just off the cuff. It's impromptu. I'm in transit. I don't have my regular bells and whistles to refer to or to utilize in order to entertain you. And I don't even have the ability or the capacity to bring you up because I got a short bar on my power. But I felt like it was time for me to say something or to talk about something. And at the end of the day, to bring it all back home in the land of plane, the Gynocracy is not really actually a way of women having power over you individually. It's a system that upholds their power over you. These chicks ain't got no real power over you, man. Not for real, on a natural level. They have institutional power over you by design. It's been that way, and you got to understand it. Now, the question is, are they to any degree culpable for being complicit in the system? I say, hell motherfucking yeah. Ain't no excuse. You got too much information. If you're the most educated, you're supposed to be a leader. And if you're supposed to be a leader, you're supposed to be held up to even a higher standard of understanding as opposed to just self promotion? Whatever happened to uplift? Whatever happened to actually looking out for each other in the face of adversity? My whole thing on it is, if it's fuck me, fuck you too. I'm out this bitch.